All right, welcome back to Outmouse Labs. This is going to be a really fast one. What I wanted to talk about was I've had a lot of people ask exactly why aliasing is important. So I thought I would make a quick video showing it visually. So here's what we're kind of imagining. Imagine that AML.example core function was a function inside of one of the RPG Maker core scripts. So for instance, just let's say, oh, I'm actually only in plugins here. Let's do it this way. One moment. Let's say, for instance, that it was inside of our MMZ windows, right? So this is just a big file full of functions, right? So imagine it's one of these functions for the sake of argument. Okay, so that's what our core function is. We want to make a plugin that does something with our example core function. So we're going to create an alias. So aml.alias example core function equals example core function. Okay, so we've made an alias in our plugin file, is what we're imagining. The first thing we do is we override the original. So aml.example core function, that's from our core script. So, and then the first thing we do with that is we call our alias. So now we have had it do the original core function through the alias. Then we add something else. We want it to log example plugin 1. So if this were working properly, we would see core function, then example plugin 1 log to our screen. Then imagine somebody else out there makes a plugin using the same core. So down here, they make their own alias. And you could call this alias anything you wanted. So why don't we do that? We'll just make another alias just for the sake of argument. And this alias we're going to call alias core function. Let's call it other alias. It's really, really original. Other alias. So this is another plugin developer in their own file makes a different alias of this same original. Then they override the original, just like we did, and they call their alias, which is other alias. And then they have their plugin do something like log example plugin 2, right? These two lines here are just running it to show the example. Okay, so again, just for the to be clear, we have our RPG Maker original function, some developer's alias in their plugin file, some other developer's alias in their plugin file. If everything works as we expect it to, when someone was to run a game that had both plugins installed, we should see core function, then log 1, then core function, then log 2. So let's see if that's what we see. We load up our game. We hit F8 to bring up our console, and their core function, example plugin 1, core function, example plugin 1, and example plugin 2. So there you go. We now see it doing exactly what it's supposed to, which is to run all of the code every time, instead of there being an error where only one runs, which would break the game, or at least break the plugin. So that's why aliasing is important. That's why aliasing works. It's essentially telling everybody to get in line and always do the core function plus my new code without getting in the way of anybody else. Hopefully that visual was important. Happy game making.